Welcome to Truth Quest. If you are striving to balance earthly challenges with a heavenly perspective in areas like business, family, relationships, money, and personal growth, you have found your community. Welcome back to Truth Quest, where we are trying to dig into the hard questions, even if we don't like the answers. Jaimee and I have been receiving a variety of different communications, either emails or texts, and some have been in person. People asking us, how do we find balance, and how does God want us to balance our life? Mm-hmm. First of all, balance does not exist. That is a little fantasy world that I don't know who made that up, but it doesn't exist. When I'm teaching on time blocking and those type of things, and we talk about balance, one of the things I will tell them is it's like a pendulum. So it's swinging back and forth. And the goal is you don't want it to swing too far, because sometimes it'll be like, everything is out of whack and I've got to be home and handle things here. And then, everything is on fire at work and I have to be over here. So it swings really large. The goal is just to have it swing slower and less. Yeah. Exactly. So you'll never be balanced until you die. So you might not want to just want to jump into that.
Maybe not. Okay.
Maybe
so
not.
If balance does not exist, where do we even start with that?
Part of finding balance is actually in reducing the stress, right? Because when you're stressed, that's when it swings harder and stronger. And you reduce the stress with the right structure and the right habits. So I think that, we've got a couple points here. The first is you need to live in His strength, not yours. That's when I am finding myself most stressed out, is when I can do it, right? And but He says in John 15:5 that I am the vine, you are the branches. So those who remain in me and I in them will produce much fruit. So for apart from me, you can do nothing, right? I want to have good fruit, first of all, but I can't. I'm just a branch, right? You break me off and I'm not connected to the vine, then I don't have that support. I need His support. I need His strength. And that's where I'm being fed, is through that vine. We have this mentality of, if it's to be, it's up to me. And I'm going to forge ahead and I'm going to get this stuff done. And that's not what we're called to do. Matthew 11:28 and 29, Jesus said, "Come to me, all of you who are weary and carry heavy burdens, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you. Let me teach you, because I am humble and gentle at heart, and you will find rest for your souls." I'm not supposed to carry it myself. I'm supposed to put on a yoke with Jesus. And then I'm not going to be so weary.
Yeah.
And that rest is like my favorite 4-letter word right now, right?
I was going to say, I know when my life feels very out of control and I am having a hard time grasping balance, rest sounds better than just about anything else.
Yes.
Just let me have a break.
Sometimes rest is the most productive thing you can do.
Sometimes.
Well, and the other thing about carrying everything ourselves, and it's also letting Jesus pull us out of something that we got into sometimes, right? So Psalm 42 says, He drew me up from the pit of destruction, out of the miry bog, and set my feet upon a rock, making my steps secure. So we feel the stress when it's like, I will frequently say, I feel like everything's going out from underneath me.
Yeah.
I'm not on solid ground.
It definitely feels like that.
And when I feel like that, I'm out of balance, and it's because I'm stressed, and it's usually because I'm trying to do it by myself. And when I just submit and say, okay, God, I need you, just take control here and show me where am I supposed to be stepping. First we're looking at, you share the burden, and in sharing the burden, sharing this yoke, that starts with prayer. Right? You can't just say, okay, well, I'll let God do it. No, talk
And
to
then
him.
just carry on
right?
with your day.
Yeah. You have to actually come to God and say, okay, here it is. Show me how to give this up. Or
Yeah.
take it from
Put something
me. Or,
down. That's
but
hard.
it starts with a conversation with God. That's your prayer. And then he talks about, what was that one before? And let me teach you because I am humble and gentle at heart, right? How does he teach you? Well, he teaches you because you read the word. Mm-hmm. So you have to open up the word.
Yeah.
It's not just, I'm going to just touch it and I'll know.
He led by example. If you want to know what the example was, you're going to have to read it.
Well, it's literally the manual, right?
Yeah.
And, okay, well, my husband might be guilty of not opening the manual sometimes, and I might make fun of him. But do I not do the same thing? It's like,
Oh, guilty.
right?
Guilty.
I'm like, why am I not opening up the manual? I'm like so stressed out. I don't know what to do. Blah, 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 blah. Well, did you read the manual?
Yeah.
So, life lessons on electronics also apply to our souls.
Yeah.
But so many times there's been time in my life where I'd say, well, I don't have time. I'm so busy trying to fix this that I don't have time. When in all actuality, I couldn't afford to not take the time. And then it's on to that be still, right? Let's go lay down in green pastures. You actually have to take the time to do that. Mm-hmm. That's another one that I struggle with. And I try to take time to be still before, during, and after I'm in the Word. I've figured out that I will absorb it better, understand it more, if I spend a little bit of quiet time, get into His Word, maybe pause in the Word, and ask Him to show me what it is that He's trying to show me, and then have like a recap quiet time at the end
That's a
with
really
Him.
good idea. I like
And
that.
it has been so good to teach me how to hear His shepherd voice when I do it in this fashion. So that's helped a lot in keeping me on solid ground, standing on this solid ground instead of this miry pit.
Yeah.
But in order to come out of the pit, the other thing is you have to actually raise your hand so you can be pulled out.
Yeah.
And I think that too often I have been like, come get me, instead of, will you take me out?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a different posture.
It is a very different posture.
The main thing in getting this balance is just giving it up to God.
I would also throw in there what you focus on expands. I mean, this is going to be true throughout for all of what we're talking about today.
Oh, yeah.
But what you focus on expands. If you are focused on how little time you have, that's all you're going to see. If you
Yes.
And, on the other side, if you are focused on how grateful you are for X, Y, Z, that's what you're going to think about a lot more. And it's just going to be a nicer place to be.
But our earthly needs are going to fall into place when our focus is on the heavenly perspective. That's what I believe. So Colossians 3, 1 and 2, it says, if then you have been raised with Christ, seek the things that are above, where Christ is seated at the right hand of God. Set your minds on things that are above, not on things that are on earth. And that's so, I love what it says, and I know it's so hard to keep a heavenly perspective when your feet are standing on the earth.
Yep.
But on the calendar, too, I came across Ephesians 5:15, and it says, so be careful how you live. Don't live like fools, but like those who are wise. Make the most of every opportunity in these evil days. Make the most of every opportunity.
Every opportunity.
Don't act thoughtlessly, but understand what the Lord wants you to do. That means you're thinking about every activity that's on your calendar.
Yeah, it does.
And is it in alignment with what the Lord has called you to do? Right? What does He want you to do? And you can't go to church on Sunday and then live the rest of your life on an earthly trajectory and think that you're doing what the Lord wants you to do. I did that for years, thinking that was okay, but it's not. It's not. You can't be a pew holder. Bottom line, I guess the first section of finding the secret to balance is that it's all mindset, it's heart set, and it's choosing to create the structure and the environment and the habits that lean into God, not into your own desires.
So let's talk about physical balance.
Oh, yeah. This one, okay. You know when your mom says, do as I say, not as I do? Just call me mom. No, it's vital, right? Rest is vital. And we even touched on it a little bit on the last one. But rest is vital because there's all this, science has done all these studies, and that includes psychology. They've been doing a lot of studies on, and they've proven that time away from work actually improves your production.
Wow.
Right? And so I think the key is you have to plan it.
You got to be intentional about it.
Yeah, exactly. Be very intentional. So when I am coaching someone, the first thing I tell them to do is I need you to go schedule your vacations.
Because that feels kind of backwards, doesn't it?
It does feel backwards. What people do is they plan all their work and then they try to fit in a vacation, which makes it more stressful, right? And which throws you off balance. So let's be intentional, and you don't live to work. So let's plan your life and then make work fit around that. Second thing, take a Sabbath. You know, the Sabbath was not put into place for God. I will hear people say all the time, and I just want to throat punch them. I won't really throat punch them, but they say, God needs you to take the Sabbath. No, God doesn't need the Sabbath. We need the Sabbath. It was a gift. I give you the Sabbath.
Yeah, those are the words, right? I give you.
Right, but we don't do it. And myself included. I mean, I have to struggle every week to take a Sabbath.
You really do.
Nope, put it down. Put it down. Put it down. One of the best books I ever read was John Mark Comer, The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. And in fact, I think I need to read it again. And one of the points in there is about the Sabbath. But it is just amazing to me the difference of my week will have if I've taken a Sabbath or not. The other thing is to schedule time with God, right? His word, prayer with him, just being with him, right? We covered that last time. But throughout the Gospels, Jesus rested. He rested and he separated away from the crowd. I am a huge people person. Shocker. But I love people. But I don't recharge until I've gone away and been alone. That's where I recharge. I just need to go and rest and be with him. And if I really want to be on top of my game, I need to have some of that time every day. I came across the verse. I almost don't want to share it because I'm afraid you're going to throw it at me all the time.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Psalm 127:2. It says, "It is useless for you to work so hard from early morning until late at night, anxiously working for food to eat, for God gives rest to his loved ones."
I am very guilty of letting anxiety get the better of me and just putting my head down and working and getting through what's on my calendar today, what's on my to-do list. And just before you know it, you look up and it's 3:30. And have I said one word? Have I stopped to do it? Probably not.
Yeah.
But man, does it go fast. Just takes it back to that intentionality.
Exactly.
And building habits. It's not
choice.
just going to happen. Yeah.
And to do that, I have to arrange my schedule so that the most important things are done first.
That's true.
Because sometimes the most important things are the most uncomfortable things.
Yeah.
So I will push them to the bottom. I'll do the ones that I get to check the box because I'm one of those people that will actually write it on the list if it wasn't there before.
Just to cross
check
it off?
Yeah.
We know who we are.
I know. It feels so good. Even though it wasn't necessary, didn't need to be done, but I did something. I just didn't do the most important thing. And then I'm cramming and pushing it in at the end of the day or beyond the end of the day.
Yeah.
And so
And then
I
it's not
become
looking the same anymore.
no, it is not.
Yeah, because you have less energy by the end of the day. Mm-hmm. At least I know I do.
Exactly. I know that we talked about the fact that I have to go away in order to get a reset. But part of that is because our energy, it's a depleting resource. So everybody has some way that they refuel,
Yeah.
but you take the time to figure out what that is. Some people do refuel with people. Like, if they get around a lot of, fine, go have a party, right? And refuel that way.
Go have dinner with some friends. Go,
right? So whatever way it is that you refuel, you need to do that, because this is, that, even though it looks like it's very busy, that is kind of rest for that person.
Oh, absolutely.
Because they're just not working. And you know how horrible would it be if you were like a people person, but you were stuck in a little cubicle all day long? They would really need to go out.
Yeah, they should.
If you are a cubicle person, go find your friends. You need to. It's for your physical well-being and your spiritual well-being. 2
birds, 1 stone.
Right?
Love it.
Yeah. But part of that study is they figured out that if we get physically run down, either from tired or sick, anything, our body's immunity does drop.
Yeah.
And we become cranky, we get critical, we get negative. We have, what did they say? It says a prolonged lack of rest can do some serious damage to your nervous system.
Yeah.
That's just, it's amazing to me.
It is. It's fascinating. Yeah. That the way that you psychologically are feeling and just the amount of rest you do or don't get, that affects your nervous system absolutely.
Your whole body gets all out of whack.
Yeah.
And so, I take naps. That's what I know. Take naps. Norvell Hayes, he was a great businessman, and as well as he was in ministry. But he made a statement that said, tired people lean toward problems. Rested people lean towards solutions.
I love that.
I do too, because usually we're pushing tired just because we want to find the solutions. When in fact, if we just go take a nap, we'd probably get the solution.
And you might even get there a little sooner.
Right? I know it.
But it feels so backwards.
It does. It does. So another point to note is that your flesh and spirit are competing against each other, right? So we're talking about getting physical balance for our spiritual lives, but our flesh and our spirit are competing. And so we actually have to discipline our flesh so that it benefits both our body and our spirit. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I know that it's really hard as a new believer. You know, I see a lot of new believers struggle with this because it's not what they know.
Yeah. Well, because everything is brand new.
Yeah. Everything spiritually is brand new.
Yes. Yeah.
But their flesh is old. I mean, they might not be physically old, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
their flesh knows how to be flesh.
It's familiar. Yes.
It's your mind and your heart learning how to work with the spirit that is so brand new. And that's why it's such a difficult stage, you know, trying to find the balance in there and to beat it into submission. I mean, what was it? Galatians 5:17 said the sinful nature wants to do evil, which is just the opposite of what the spirit wants. And the spirit gives us desires that are the opposite of what the sinful nature wants. These two forces are constantly fighting each other, so you are not free to carry out your good intentions. So you can't do it. I guess that's, you can't do it. You've got to lean into God and allow him to do it. But be aware of this battle that's going on, and you get to choose who
because
wins.
it's going on whether you want to be aware of it or not.
Yeah.
It's
you're a porcupine,
on.
whether you like it or not. You know, Matthew 26 says the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. you need to strengthen up your flesh a little bit, right? I mean, strengthen the spirit-fed part of your flesh, put it that way. Because on its own, your flesh is weak. But if it's infused with the Spirit of God, now you can withstand a whole lot more. There's so much intentionality that's required to really grow. And in that growth comes your balance.
Yeah.
Because the fantasy of balance is just that. It's a fantasy, but it's not an impossibility.
No.
You can keep it under control. It's never going to be balanced, but you can keep it under control. But all of it is a choice.
Yeah. That is the good news and the bad news, I guess, depending on how you're looking at it. Because then it means it's a call to action. It's gonna take something. Mm-hmm. You can't just sit back and expect it to happen for you. You're gonna have to be intentional and step into whatever that makes some changes, probably.
Right. But just like an athlete, you can't sit and eat bonbons on the couch or Cheetos or whatever it is you want to eat on the couch and expect to
step into a marathon.
Right. Yes. There's all types of excessive behavior. There is eating, spending, laziness, drinking, whatever it is. If there is something that is excessive behavior that you don't have control over,
something that's filling up a lot of your schedule just naturally,
then there's something else that you need to get in line with discipline. So basically the bottom line to all of this is balance requires discipline.
Yeah.
It's our mindset, it's our environment, it's our habits, our physical beings. Submit all of it and then make it a priority to keep submitting it every day, like the athlete, every day, submit it. Balance will never be a one and done thing. It just won't. It's an ongoing choice to keep that pendulum and to keep it small. As we conclude this episode of Truth Quest, we invite you to be a part of the conversation. Send in your questions, thoughts, and reflections. Don't forget, like, follow, and subscribe to stay updated on our journey together. Until next time, may you continue to seek truth with courage and remember to sprinkle a little grace, even if that's all you've got.